Interesting, because it wasn't a case that I had even thought about. I didn't even know about it. It was I must have been out of town when this happened, because I don't remember seeing it on TV, and I never remembered anybody talking about it. So I knew nothing about this case until, I midnight that night at Perkins, when my girlfriend introduced me to a Bazetta police officer, and she said I knew his mother, and she said, she does cold cases. Why don't you tell her about the case of that missing man? And I didn't know anything about it, and he said a little bit. He told me a little bit that they had found him here over at Mosquito Lake, and that's all he told me. And then I started getting some information and gave that to him, and he left. And the next morning I got a phone call from Tom, the chief of police, asking me if I would come in and see if I could give them more information, and if there was anything more I could tell them about it. So I did. I came the next day and met Joe, the detective that was on the case, and Tom and Joe brought me down here, and that's when I saw a vehicle. I don't know if it was an SUV or a truck, but it was a vehicle that had a tailgate to it, because I saw them pulling a body out of it, and I saw them carrying it over. There was a driver and two people carrying the body, and that's what I know. And then we went back to the police department, and I sat there and started getting more information. Felt like his name was James or Jamie, had a J name to it. He kept asking about his shoes, wanted to know where his shoes were. He was very concerned about his shoes, so I felt like those shoes meant a lot to him. I feel there was an identity to him. If somebody saw the shoes, they would know that it was him. I also he told me that his mother's name was like Madeline. It was an M name. It wasn't Mary, it was a long name. He may have come from Detroit area, but I also felt like Windsor. I was going to Canada. I felt he had gone to Canada. I don't know if he was Canadian, but I felt like Toronto. I kept hearing Toronto. So he may have traveled back and forth to Toronto. I also saw him sitting at a bar, and I felt like I was in Youngstown area. I don't feel I was local here in this particular area. I felt like I was over on the Youngstown, north side of Youngstown. See, I'm getting more information, Nadine. There's more coming in. This morning, when I asked him to come with me, he again showed me his shoes, and I hadn't seen the shoes before, but they were like brown shoes, brown leather shoes with brown ties to them. They were thin ties, like a thin lace to it, but they were brown, like almost like Italian-looking shoes. They have the Italian leather. That's what it looked like. So he really loved his shoes. That's what I know.
And the police never found his shoes.
Never found his shoes. Shoes have never been found. No.